welcome back to A Happy Mind TV, a place where happiness and mindset come together to leave you feeling happier and more enriched in your knowledge and empowerment. I am your host, Samantha Hearne, and I can't wait to give you another episode of A Happy Mind TV. And in today's 15-minute or less episode, we are talking all about what to do when you can't sleep. As well as being a business coach, I also have a real passion and clients and a best-selling book all around anxiety and how to move yourself away from having anxiety in your everyday life and not being able to sleep, especially as an entrepreneur or someone that struggles with anxiety or both. That is a really big source of struggle. So I want to give you 3 top tips to help you when you can't sleep. The first one is a notebook. Yep, a notebook. For me, this is huge. At night, my mind decides to come up with 20 million new ideas and I just don't know where to start. I then have this panic of, am I going to remember this in the morning? Don't forget this in the morning. Make sure you remember this, make sure you remember that, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And it just spirals and it keeps going. And I find it really hard to calm my mind down or turn off these thoughts. So what I do now is I write them down. Anything that I really want to remember, anything that comes to me as a source of inspiration, anything that I think I can't forget that, I write down in my notebook. This is really important because the more you can externalize these thoughts, the less your subconscious mind is going to try and hold on to them and bring them to your conscious. And especially when you're trying to sleep, that will keep you awake. That will make you focus on these thoughts and not going to sleep. And you will find yourself feeling restless and agitated. So a notebook. My first tip for you, if you can't sleep, is to have a notebook or your phone on your notes next to you so that you can write down anything and allow the thought to physically leave you because it now exists somewhere else and you don't have to worry you're going to forget it, and you also don't have to try and make sense of it because it's written down for you and in the morning you can come back to it. My second top tip. This is all about you and your body. Something we do when we can't sleep is we then try and force ourselves to go to sleep. So we lie there and think, come on, please, please, please fall asleep. Come on, please, 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 please. Oh my gosh, I can't fall asleep. We roll around, we get frustrated and we get agitated and we can't sleep. We are trying to force ourselves to go to sleep. Do any of you feel like that? Does anyone do that? You try and force yourself to go to sleep. Come on, go to sleep. Here's what we need to do instead of that. Stop forcing and start releasing. So this is what I do now. If I can't sleep, all I do is I lie in my bed on my back and all I focus on is filling myself with as much air as possible and forcing it out with as much force to release that frustration. So for example, instead of focusing on the fact you can't sleep, instead of becoming frustrated that you can't sleep, allow your breathing to take that away from you. Force this frustration out. Use your breath. Your breath is so powerful. Use your breath to relieve yourself of that stress and that tension. And it also stops your mind from focusing so much on the fact that you're trying to fall asleep. Tip number 3. I can't decide if this is my favorite or not, but I love them all. But I think that this tip is something that we have to be realistic. Being able to fall asleep and worrying about falling asleep and having anxieties and worries and doubts and all of these thoughts running around in our head, we're only human. And of course, sometimes it will take you longer to fall asleep than other times. There will be times that you do feel stress or worry or anxiety, but it's about how we stop that from completely taking over. And remember, A Happy Mind TV is a way of finding happiness and mindset, putting the two together and giving you strategies to walk away with so you feel happier and you feel more enriched. So tip number 3 is just to give you a real reality check and know that it's completely okay if you do find yourself in this situation. And if you do find yourself struggling to fall asleep, these top tips are here to give you a really simple way and a really user-friendly way to change that without needing time and extra resources and commitment. So tip number 3 is all about focusing on your thoughts. This is important because The last tip was all about releasing. The first tip was all about externalizing. The final tip is all about understanding. So you need to be able to identify if there is a pattern to when you can't sleep or when it takes you longer to sleep. Is it because it's Sunday night and you have a big meeting on Monday morning? Is it because you have a massive presentation coming up, an interview? Think about what it is that could be creating this lack of being able to fall asleep and start to try and understand it. So much of our mindset we leave to chance and we let it be unknown and we let it become this overwhelming ball of confusion. We need to start unpicking that, and your mindset and your mind is such a powerful tool. So the more you can focus on understanding your mind and understanding how it works, the more you can help it. If you had a friend or a loved one that was crying, you wouldn't just ignore them and say, oh, when you stop crying, I'm here. You would ask them questions. Why are you sad? What's making you cry? I'm so sorry you're so upset. What's happened? What's happened? You would try and understand so you could give advice. Why don't we do that for ourselves? Try and understand and give yourself some advice. So, tip number 3 leads back into tip 1 and 2. Once you've understood why you're in that situation, you can decide which tip would work best for you. Would it help you to write everything down because you have an interview or a presentation or a big day? Or would it help you to do the breathing because it's Sunday night and you're just anxious about the week ahead? So tip number 3 allows you to take action in the best way suited for you in that moment, using tip 1 or tip 2. And remember, you are only human. Being able to sleep is a natural process, and sometimes it can take longer, but you can use these tips from now, from today, to see if they can start helping you move forward from frustration and anger with yourself and getting worked up and so tense that you still wake up tired, to actually feeling relaxed, in control, and aware of why you're in that situation so that you can make positive changes. A Happy Mind TV is here for you. I want to be able to give you simple strategies that you can walk away with to feel happier and more enriched. If you've really loved this episode, I would be so grateful if you could give it a like and a subscription so that you don't miss another episode of A Happy Mind TV and that you join me in the Happy Mind TV family. My name is Samantha Hearne, and I can't wait to see you on another episode.